Hello there, I am Tanya Vindica, and as most of you probably know by now, I myself have complex PTSD, and I have been struggling with many of the symptoms for a long time. And I actually always thought, even growing up, I always had that sense that there's something wrong with me, but back then it was more about all the experiences, the trauma that I had, where people were telling me that I had that really strong sense that I'm not okay. There's something intrinsically wrong with me as a person. But then as to teenage years and stuff, it was really intense then, and then later on, that sense never kind of went away. I knew that all the symptoms, like this intense fear that I had, wasn't like normal. Other people didn't experience it. I had really lots and lots of nightmares. I had flashbacks, which I denied for many years that I didn't have it, but not because it wasn't that I was lying that I didn't have it. It was just they were so traumatic in themselves. They were so horrible to have them that I really didn't want to think about it. I blocked them out. I don't have that. I don't want to think about it. And it only was sort of in my late 20s and stuff, and everything kind of collapsed, and I could no longer hold it together. I could no longer pretend to the world out there that I'm okay. I tried my hardest to cover it up, but I started to fail. I just fell apart, basically. And it was then too when I kind of got my diagnosis with complex PTSD, and then for many years I felt really bad, or I was beating myself up for many years, why I had PTSD, why I can't be a stronger person, a more resilient person. That's what I wanted to be. If I would be that, then I wouldn't have PTSD right now. And it was only because I was working with my psychiatrist. He kept pointing out to me that, and all this was happening. I was actually a child, and you would never expect a child to be strong and resilient and to cope with that kind of trauma that I had, because it would just not happen, because you don't have the mental capacity, your brain's not developed, you don't have the emotional development, you just can't deal with those situations back then. And so only through that awareness I sort of realised that it was not all my fault that I had PTSD, and I started really reading up a lot on why some people have a traumatic experience and they seem to be okay and they just keep going, and they might have some therapy, they might not have any therapy, but then there's others that actually go on and develop PTSD, and I just so didn't want to be that person. But it took me many years to accept, okay, that's it, I have complex PTSD, they're my symptoms, and I need to acknowledge that and be aware of them, to actually be able to deal and manage them. And that's the whole reason behind that. That's why I started writing that blog. PTSD is not a sign of weakness, and I really encourage you to read that blog on my website, tanyavindica.com. And it's only very brief, but it is actually certain brain functions, and especially that your amygdala, hippocampus, and parts of the prefrontal cortex, that the circuits aren't wired quite the same as in someone that had a healthy upbringing, didn't have any trauma. Your neurons aren't firing quite the same. So first that got me down again, but now I sort of realised, no, that's okay. Me knowing that now helps me in trying to work, finding ways to help myself to deal and manage my symptoms better. And the good news is that our brain has tremendous capacity to change, and we can train our brain again to learn, have new circuits, strengthen different circuits that help us to regulate our emotions better than we used to, especially fear. I still have to be quite conscious about it every day. Like when I go out, I constantly remind myself, you're here now, look around, you're safe, everyone else is smiling, happy, there's no immediate threat to me. I have to constantly remind myself of this. Still to this day, I have have better days and worse days still, but I'm working at it, and I have far less times where my anxiety is just randomly triggered and I'm just reacting to everything. So I'm much more in control, if you like. I like being in control of things, but in a way I am, by being very conscious about it. It helps me managing my symptoms better. So yes, go and have a read of the blog and let me know what you think about it, and I wish you all the best. Bye now.